Porsche ever made. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I am Soini Dutt. Just before the pandemic in 2019, Ultraviolette, a Bengaluru-based startup, promised us India's first electric superbike. But we've had to wait 3 long years for its production-ready model. It's finally here. We're here to find out whether it was worth its wait.
Some of you may remember that Ultraviolette is a Bengaluru-based startup with some funding from TVS amongst others. And in 2019, they presented us with a prototype that claimed to be India's first electric superbike. With an 8+ second 0 to 100 sprint and a top speed under 150 kilometers an hour, it was anything but a superbike. But compared to the other electric motorcycles of the time, be they merely assembled or thoroughly engineered, the Ultraviolette stood out with its KTM-derived chassis and handling package, a unique yet natural soundtrack, and an exciting powertrain which was comparable to some of the quicker 250s when it came to excitement levels. But Ultraviolette couldn't do good on their promise of delivering the F77 by 2020, and the pandemic was only half the problem, with engineering and production constraints being the bigger challenge. But they seem to have found solutions in not watering down the product but actually enhancing it. This is the production model, and yes, it has a pretty tall asking price, but the fit and finish looks premium, and so are the specifications.
For starters, it's lost its party piece, its conversation starter, the removable battery pack, and that cool door for the battery compartment which would nicely open out. That is gone. But in place of those theatrics, what you get is a really massive battery pack, one of the largest of its kind on an Indian two-wheeler.
What has also changed is that jet-inspired sonic sound from the powertrain, which is present but quieter because of a more refined transmission. It still sounds quite unique though, which is good news. The powertrain itself comprises of a more powerful motor now, which gets its juice from a massive 10.3 kWh battery pack. In my previous F77 review, I had said that they should aim for at least a 200 km range. And with this new battery, that claim is over 300 km now.
Now you will have to carry your charger around all the time, but the good part is the booster charger, which is the faster AC charger that you can buy, it works with a regular 3-pin plug as well, and that will give you about 75 kilometers of range and about an hour of charging is what Ultraviolette says. Also, the charging socket, it is similar to Ola's. So if you are able to find the Ola hypercharger network and if you are somehow able to get that gun to work with this, well, the hardware is compatible. Now as for the booster charger or even the regular charger, if you are to carry it around, if you remember in my previous review I said that you would have to lug it around on your backpack, but no, now you also get the option of 2 panniers. But again, electric vehicle designers are constantly fighting for each and every bit of aerodynamic efficiency that they can get out of the vehicle, right? So with 2 big panniers, of course, it is going to reduce that aerodynamic efficiency. It is going to take a toll on the overall range, especially when you're riding out on the highway. With that kind of a massive battery pack, the dimensions for which, however, remain unchanged whether you go for the smaller battery or the bigger battery, there is, of course, a lot of weight. Choose the smaller battery and the overall weight of the motorcycle is 197 kilos. Choose the larger battery, which is about 10 kilos heavier. That is the only differentiator for the weight. This is 207 kilos then.
There is a reverse and a forward mode which will work like an assist in situations like these. But using these can get a little cumbersome and time consuming when you want to make a quick 3-point U-turn on tight roads like these. These reverse or forward riding modes also restrict the speed to 5 km an hour, meaning you have to again stop, disengage the mode and then continue riding. Once on the move, the F77 doesn't feel as heavy, be it the racetrack or the tight mountain roads. The weight management is that good considering the entire powertrain weighs about 95 kilos. The F77 is very manageable around the hairpins too, and the linear power delivery also helps. Transitioning from side to side for switchbacks is quite easy too. The more rounded profile of the new MRF tires also contributes to that effect.
Two components make a debut on this motorcycle. One are these MRF steel brace tires. I have never heard of them before, but I was super impressed on the track. The other component that makes a debut on this motorcycle are these 41mm upside down forks from Gabriel. Of course, these might go to other motorcycles as well, other motorcycles in a similar space. We don't know just yet, but out of the box, the suspension setup is also quite good.
The suspension is set up on the firmer side though, and how it behaves on poorer road conditions or with a pillion and luggage remains to be seen with a road test. There are 3 riding modes in all: a really dull glide mode which gives you about 1/3 the power, a combat mode where you can sort of optimize the range and the performance by using 2/3 the power, or the ballistic mode where you can go all guns blazing. The riding modes only affect the power, its delivery and the battery management, and can be changed on the fly using the thumb starter. The regenerative braking gets its own 3 modes though, which need to be accessed from the fairly intuitive instrumentation.
In low mode, it's as good as coasting. So there you are having to trail brake more often, having to use that rear brake more often. But then the medium mode sort of gave me a little bit of assistance in that deceleration from the motor itself. And then the high mode, that is where it felt a little bit more natural, almost like an ICE vehicle, where I could completely rely on the regen and the front brakes, not even have to tap the rear brake at all. And that's the mode I enjoyed the most. That is where I started picking up a lot more pace because I was able to enter corners a lot more confidently.
Ultraviolette claims that the yearly maintenance for the F77 could be as low as Rs 5,000. So when you actually do the math, compared to other premium motorcycles with a petrol powertrain in this particular price bracket, you could actually end up saving a lot more by investing in a stall asking price.
Well, there you have it. That's India's first electric superbike, which is ready to hit Indian roads. But are you ready to give it a shot? We'll be back after a very short break to tell you what's changed in the BMW 3 Series Grand Limited.